Right.
So good morning, everybody. Good morning, Wanda. Go ahead and you can just introduce yourself and get talking. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Wanda Kidd, and as I was telling Julie earlier, I'm a longtime former real estate agent. Okay, not doing that anymore. But now I'm working with clients to help them to learn to build their credit, set up budgets, and build savings so that they can do some of the things that they may have not had a chance to do. So I work with an organization called West Oakland Job Resource Center. And specifically, what that organization does is help people get jobs in the construction trade so that they're getting well paid jobs and then they can do some of the things that they may not have been able to do otherwise. But what we found out was when they get these jobs, if they have no idea of how to deal with their money, they're kind of stay in the same spot, just buying new cars. And then when the layoff period comes, they don't have any more money. So they're coming back like, okay, now what do I do? So we decided to create the financial services department to help people to understand how to build their credit, how to budget, and how to save, and then ultimately to achieve some of the goals that they would want to achieve. So what I've kind of prepared, and I don't know if I'm going to really stick to this or not, I prepared a presentation, which is a PowerPoint for building credit that I go over with the clients. Um, so I can either go through that with you so you see what I actually do, or we can talk more in depth about, how we can possibly work together.
I made
Okay.
you co-host so you can share anything
Oh,
you'd like.
all right, cool. So let me share my PowerPoint. All right, can you see my PowerPoint?
Beautiful. Yes.
Okay, let me start this up then. Okay, so normally when I'm meeting with clients, I'll kind of walk you through the meeting I do with them in general to get them engaged into building their credit and what have you. The other thing I want to say is that we work a lot with underprivileged people, reentry people, and it's awesome because I have had reentry people come out and build their credit, learn to budget, and have actually bought some beautiful homes. You'd be surprised. And a lot of people that have actually bought homes. So that's kind of my fun piece that why I like doing this, because I get to see people accomplish some of their dreams that a lot of times they have no idea that they even have the ability to do it. But once they learn the skills, it's an easy piece. Okay. So please stop me if you have questions as I'm going through this. I'm just gonna keep it moving, okay? So usually I will bring them to a slide like this, asking them what are the reasons that your credit score isn't at least 700, minimum of 700. So if I'm working with a client, my goal is to get them to 700. But in the process, I teach them what we're doing. I won't do it all for you. I will show you how to do stuff, and we meet monthly so that you can understand what the process is and how you got there, because I know that life happens, and so your score may be 700 today, and next month it may drop back down to 650, but you should at least be able to tell me why it happened and know what you need to do to change the score back to build it back up again. Okay. So when I'll ask these questions, and a lot of times people will respond, and sometimes it's a quiet audience, but then I start talking to them about their own personal habits that impact their credit score. So, like medical crises, if you haven't planned for those, that can be a really big whop to your budget. And so I know that these days the medical costs, bills and stuff are not having as much impact on your credit report as they did in the past, but that's still something that you really need to take into consideration. And so I talked to them about making sure that they have insurance coverage and stuff to help them cover those costs. The other piece are retail therapy. so many people get depressed, if you will, when things happen in their life. And so one of the ways they bring themselves back up is by shopping. And with online shopping, people are doing it more and more and more without even thinking about it. I know that even people that I'd worked with before, prior to COVID, had built really great credit scores. And then when COVID came and people were locked in, what they do? They went online buying stuff to make themselves feel happier and better, and consequently it hit their credit reports. And so I talk to people about just those habits and things that we do without really even thinking about them. Dining out. How many people do that on such a consistent basis? And I talk specifically like Starbucks. That was one of my particular favorites. And I didn't pay any attention because all of these things we're doing on automatic. We're not really thinking about them when we're doing it. And for years, I worked in a building that I had to walk past Starbucks to get to my building to go to work. So every morning I would go in and get me a cup of chai, right? No big deal because that's $5, right? And it didn't come to my attention until I was out with my daughter one time. And I'm like, where's Starbucks? And she says, I don't know. I don't do Starbucks. And I'm like, okay, well, we need to ride because I need Starbucks. Okay. So we're out searching for Starbucks. We find it. And I'm happy now. I get back in the car with her and she's like, Mom, do you realize that you're an addict? And I'm like, excuse me? And she's like, you told me that anytime anybody's in the street looking for something, just something that they have to go on with your day, that's addictive. She said, so yeah, you got to think. And that hurt my feelings because that's my baby girl. I'm trying to teach her the right thing. And it's like, so I took a minute to think about that. And then I finally took the time to actually calculate how much money I spend on Starbucks coffee. At the time, I didn't own any stock in Starbucks coffee. And I'm like, I ended up looking at, I was spending close to $2,000 a year on Starbucks coffee. Now, when I look at it from that perspective, it changed the whole way I looked at what I was doing. And that's kind of what we have to do is kind of tweak ourselves and look at what we're actually doing because it becomes a habit. You do it once or twice, then you just keep doing it. It's only $5 a while. So that was my story about Starbucks. So that I have stopped doing. I still have Starbucks occasionally, but nowhere near like what I was doing before because I want to be conscious of my budgets. And there are other things that I want to accomplish. The other thing that I find that hurts a lot of people with their credit is risky borrowing. Like people who use payday loans and stuff. They really need to see that there's a different way that you can do some of the same things. Maybe sometime the wisest thing would be to sell something that you have that you're not using anymore. So I help them to look at different ways that they can avoid doing the borrowing from places like payday loans. And then the other that I find often with clients is that, everybody's got a story. Well, I did this. I paid this man $1,000 to get this wiped off my credit report, and it was wiped off. They don't tell you about how it came back on 3 months later because it was actually a debt. But people just start trying different things that people tell them. So those are some of the things that has caused people to find themselves with low credit scores. So I believe that the 4 tools for building a solid financial platform are you have to have strong credit. You need to be budgeting. You also have to have a savings plan and have some goals so you know where you're trying to get to so that you know when you accomplish them. So when we talk about saving, some of the tips that I tell people is that you should always pay yourself first. Before you pay anything else, pay yourself first. You're worth it. And I'm not saying that you've got to pay yourself over half of your salary. I'm saying just put some money aside that you can honestly say that every month I save even as little as $50, $20, or what have you. And people, once they get into a habit of doing this, they can finally see the benefits of it when, like I have one girl, that I started her off saving like $25 a month or something. And she had it had gotten into such a habit where it was automatically coming out of her pay, going directly into the savings account. She totally forgot about it because that's what we do. And so she comes in one day stressing about she needs to have some work done on her car. And she's like, Wanda, I know you told me I shouldn't do payday loans, da 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 da. And so I finally asked her, I said, well, have you taken the money out of the bank that you were having deducted from your paycheck each month so that you have a savings? And she said, oh, I forgot about that money. I said, okay. I said, well, I think you have enough money in that account if you've been saving the way you were supposed to, that you wouldn't really have to go to a payday loan to take care of this. She checked her bank. She had the money there, which was a blessing to her, and she was happy about it. I said, so yeah, so go take that money out and use it to do what you need to do. But just like you were going to borrow money from a payday loan lender and you were going to pay them back with interest, I said, pay yourself back. Just like you were going to pay them back, pay yourself back, put it back into your savings account so that that can continue to grow and it'll be there when you need it in the future. And so she was really excited about that. I also suggest to clients that they use banks that offer roundup transfers. So that again, you're trying to water your savings, getting as much money going into it as possible. Okay. Any change and deposits monthly that you have, save it. And also, I think it helps if people use cash instead of plastic. Because when you're swiping a card, it's like you just spend. I know my granddaughter, we were shopping and she was like, I want so much. So I said, I don't have any money for it right now. Yeah, but you got that card. You can get it on that card. So no, 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 that's not how I want you to think about this. That card is for a special occasion, but it's not just because I have a card. If I use a card, I've got to have the money to use that card. So that, and also I talk to people about using coupons and savings. Like when you go to the grocery store and you check out and they say, well, you save $15, $20 today because you had coupons or whatever. I said, why don't you think about taking that money and putting it into your savings account so that you can continue to build your savings? All right. So then we get to, where do you get your credit reports from? And while my slide says you can get a free report every 12 months, you can actually get it every week, to a couple of times a week, in fact, all three of them, and it will be free of charge as long as you're not asking for a credit card. This has come about after the pandemic. So I've listed www.annualcreditreport.com as a place that you can go and pull actually all three of them. You'll do them one at a time, but you can get them all right at that one website. So then we talk about what goes into making up your credit score and what is actually on your credit report. So I talk to people and share with them that it shows all your trade lines, your account information, whether you have installment or revolving debt, any public records or collections that you have against you, and all your inquiries. But the big thing that people need to be aware of is that 35% of their credit score is their payment history. How long have you been paying bills on time in a timely fashion? So I asked the question then of people is if you had gotten a credit card about the time that you started college, and you know your interest rate would probably be very high because you're really not working. And then you fast forward to today and you've gotten your degree and you're out working as an engineer, what have you. And you're being bombarded with credit cards again, credit card offers. So if you take one of those credit card offers that's giving you a much higher amount at a very good interest rate, what should you do with that first credit card that you got when you started college? And I answers that come back is, well, I cut it up, get rid of that because it's da 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 da. And I always point out to them, if you cut it up, your credit score is going to drop immediately because that has most of your history on it. You want that history. So while you don't want to cut it up, you would simply take that card and use it very rarely. So maybe once every 6 months, you might use it and you just pay it off in full so you could avoid paying the high interest rate and it'll stay there. But that history, once you lose it, it's gone. So you don't want to close that card out. The next biggest thing about your credit is the amounts that you owe. A lot of people are not aware that there is a magic number that is you're expected to keep that under. So it's 30% of whatever your credit limit is that you should be using. Anytime you pass over that 30%, it's going to lower your credit score. And then again, we talk about the length of credit history, which is 15%. We talk about any new credit that you're applying for would be 10% of your credit score. And then the types of credit. So they're looking for various things, credit cards, revolving accounts, installment accounts, mortgages, automobiles, all of those things. Lenders like to see variety on the credit report. Then I talk to them about the scores themselves. So you could have a credit score anywhere from 300 up to 800. And then now with this chart, they can see where they fall in at, whether you have good credit, which means you can probably apply for stuff. Your interest rate will probably still be a little higher than if your credit score was very good and up around 750 or so. So I will discuss that with them. So once they've gotten their credit report, I talk to them about the things that they need to look at. Of course, review your overall credit score, but look for the accuracy on your credit reports, because what I find is almost every credit report that I pull has some errors on it. So you really have to take a moment and look at them, because those can be detrimental if you don't take care of it. Even the spelling of your name makes a difference. So you want to look at the accounts and make sure that you're aware of all the accounts and the account numbers are correct as far as you know. The amounts that you think you have on those credit cards, any negative items that might be showing on your credit card, and anything that you're not familiar with, you need to make sure that you have it corrected. You'll have to do letters and stuff to get it corrected. And then I talked to them about how long stuff stays on their credit report. So there's a statute of limitations. So things that are over 7 years old, like collections and stuff, should be falling off. They won't automatically fall off a lot of times. You may have to look at it and say, oh, this is well over 7 years. And then you have to contact them and have them remove it. Foreclosures are 7 years, bankruptcy 7 or either 10 years. Judgments are usually 10 years, but they can be reinstated. Tax liens no longer show up on your credit report. So when I did this put this together back a few years ago, they were shown, but they've no longer shown on your credit report.
And they just removed the medical payments from the scores as well.
Right. That's the Advantage score that doesn't really show your medical debt. Right. Then you have the soft inquiries and hard inquiries. So I kind of try to explain the difference so people understand that when you're out shopping at Macy's and Macy's says, would you like to put this on your credit card? And you say, I don't have one. They say, well, you can apply today and that's going to be considered a hard pull when they pull that. So anytime you're looking for something from someone, be it to rent a home, to purchase an automobile or whatever, that's considered a hard inquiry. A soft inquiry would be if you yourself are going to pull your credit report, then it doesn't show up as a ding to your credit score. If I was to pull your credit report, it would not be a ding because you're not trying to get something from me. I'm trying to help you with something. So there's that difference. So they understand that a little bit. And also that the inquiries that do show up on your credit report will last for a minimum of 2 years, at least 2 years.
So
Okay.
the free annual credit report would be a soft inquiry?
Yes, it would.
Okay.
If you're pulling it yourself, or if I pulled it, it would be a soft. Okay. All right. Then I kind of try to break down something to kind of show people the difference in cost if they have poor credit. So this is an old example, but say if you had a loan for 48 months, the loan was for 20,000 and your credit score was 725 as opposed to 650. Your interest rate is 3.26 as opposed to 9.364. That's a big jump. So it makes it worthwhile for me to build my credit so that I don't have to pay that high amount. Your monthly payment is a little different, but the interest that you pay over time is quite a bit of difference. So it's worthwhile for you to build your credit score. And so I work with them to understand that. So points to remember with regards to that is you don't want to miss any payments. Always make your payments on time. Try not to max out your credit reports. 30% is the utilization rate. 30% or lower, I say, if you can keep it there. And do not apply for too much credit because, of course, that's going to be inquiries. It's going to be racking up on your report. And not to close out your old accounts. And the other thing I'd like to bring to their attention is not co-signing for anybody. We all have kids that we love. We would do anything in the world for them, but you don't want to co-sign for them. Rather than doing co-signing, you might put them on one of your credit cards as an authorized user, and that will impact their credit score. And without impacting yours, if you don't give them a card to run up, so that they don't pay. But you can help them with their credit by using them as an authorized user rather than co-signing for them. Okay. And then more or less, I will go into a little bit about talking with clients about how to negotiate paying off collection debt. One of the key things I like to remind people of is that while you can work on old debt to take care of it, you always want to request that they remove it from your credit report when you pay them. And you want to get something in writing saying they will do that. Because if you can have it removed from your credit report, your credit score will go up instantly. If they just say that, okay, we'll show it as settled, your credit score will not jump at all. It'll show that you have a zero balance on the debt, but it will not impact your credit score. So I work with people to negotiate with the lenders to get that removed from their credit report.
Hi, Wanda. This is Valerie. Just a real quick question, two questions. On
Sure.
your point number 3 up there, do not apply for too much credit. How do you determine how much credit you should have?
Well, they recommend that if you have no like installment loans and stuff, that you have at least 3 credit cards. But when I say that, what I'm talking about is like if you go out and you're applying for 4 or 5 or 6 credit cards in whatever period of time, each one of those applications are going to hit your credit score. So it's going to be dropping your score continuously each time you apply. However, if you were to apply for auto loan or a home mortgage, and you did it all within like a 30-day period, you could apply to as many people as you wanted to apply to, and it would hit your credit score as 1 ding rather than 5 or 6 dings. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
Then my other question is, you mentioned something on a slide or two ago about to maintain your credit history, you should use each card at least once every 6 months. Did I hear that correctly?
That's kind of how I do it. You can use them as you want to use them, but I say if you don't use them for more than 6 months, there's a good chance that the lender will close the account. I've had many clients coming in saying, well, I'm trying to keep everything low so they don't use an account at all for close to a year. And then they're shocked when they look at their credit report and their score has dropped down. And the reason is that account closed out because that lender closed it out. So I say just to keep it active so the lender will not close it out. If you use it maybe once every 6 months, then you can buy something small, pay it off, and you can put it away again if you want to, and the lender probably will not close it out.
Is there any penalty if you are a very infrequent user of credit?
of credit.
Yeah,
Uh, you've
I'm
got to
just gonna
have,
use myself as an example. Like I have
okay,
multiple credit cards, I don't have any debt, and I very rarely use them. So literally, I basically just have them open as it's kind of a tool I think of if I really truly have some kind of emergency and I want to not touch savings and I want to use credit. I have
uh-huh.
them, but I don't use any of them on any real regular basis. And so is
When
that
you say
negative?
well, only negative that I can see for you is you run the risk of the lender closing your credit
Mm,
card out.
mhm,
Okay, that's what you want to avoid happening.
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so at least every 6 months, buy
Yeah.
something and pay it off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And it, like I said, it does not have to be a big something. It can be as small as a cup of coffee. You
Mhm,
used it, okay?
mhm,
So, and that's what you want to do, because
mhm,
otherwise you will find that lenders will start closing
mhm,
them out.
Thank you so much.
Okay. All righty. Okay, so then I talk to people about setting up savings and stuff. This is kind of a percentage of your housing expense and all that needs to, you kind of need to, if you're creating a budget, you want to kind of stay within this framework. And of course, some things you'll spend more on and some things you'll spend less on. As long as it equals out to 100%, you should be good. But I talk to people specifically about making sure that they're trying to save. Not everybody can do it initially, but at least 10 to 15% of their income that's coming in should be going into their savings account so that they can have some things change for them. I also talk to them about different ways that they can look at for saving money so that they can do some of the things that they want. Because we're in a nation where we like high quality stuff and we want things right now, not tomorrow. So it's if people start looking at maybe rather than buying these name brand items for grocery stores or clothing even, that's one way that you can save some money. If you shop with sales ads, having a grocery list, all those things can help you. Eating out less, and think about the transportation services that you use, like Lyft and Uber. Do you really need them? Is it an option that you can take a BART to get where you're going? Different things. You have to critique everything that you're doing to see where you can cut money. So I see a lot of people that come in with telephone bills where they've got all these gadgets on their telephones or on their TV system. And I ask them, do you really watch all of that? When do you have time to do all that? It's just, we get into these habits and they just keep going and going and going. And we don't stop to think about them until somebody actually puts it up in front of your face and say, think about this. What are you doing? Okay. And then I encourage people to avoid shopping at corner stores because they're generally higher than the grocery stores. And we know the grocery store is high already. So add on to it whatever the corner store is going to put on there.
Wanda,
Yes.
can we go back to the previous slide? We have a
Here?
couple questions there.
Okay. Go for it.
I think
Ash,
Thank you. I wanted
Michelin,
to,
did you? Go
I
ahead.
was, I was trying to take a screenshot.
Oh, okay.
I was like, this is informative. I'm going to take, if that's okay with you,
No,
Wanda.
for sure. For
And I'm
sure.
including you in the screenshot too. I'm like, let me put this on social media and say, hey,
Okay.
contact
But
Wanda for more info.
please do.
Thank you.
I did the housing piece because, like I said, I work a lot of times with people who want to purchase a home, and I tell them it's really essential that you keep this expense down in this category if that's what what you really want to do. So I shared this with them.
This is very
Everybody good?
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, let me see if I can catch up who we were. Okay, and this one I talk to people about because there's all kinds of little crazy habits that we have that we don't really think about them. They're just stuff that we do, right? And it's like you can see mine, which was the coffee on here. Okay, but then I know that I was speaking with a client because I have clients from all over the country. I think he was in like Illinois or something, and I go over a budget sheet with him, and because he's telling me I never have enough money at the end of the month. I'm always broke. And so we break down your budget. And so I'm asking you all the questions and you answer them. And when we get through, I'm like, I don't see that you're broke. You should have some money left. And he's like, I said, did you give me everything that you spend money on? Yeah, I did. I gave you everything. And his wife is sitting in the background. And she says, honey, did you tell him about the cigarettes? And his mouth dropped, of course. And oh yeah. And then we figured out just how much money he was spending on cigarettes. I mean, because he was spending $13 a day for cigarettes. And if you calculate that out for a year, that's $4,000 on cigarettes. I mean, it's hard to think about that and not think of the health benefits that are being taken away, as well as how your budget is being busted because of it. So it gives you an opportunity to look at yourself and decide, what I really want, as opposed to what I'm doing because I'm not really thinking about it. Okay. All right. So these are some more ideas that I give people when I'm talking to them about building savings. Save your change. A little bit adds up. Okay. Food banks. I particular to that one because I had a client and he was working and we went over his budget template and he didn't put anything in for groceries and stuff. And hey, you must have forgot how much you spent on groceries a month. And he said, no, I don't spend anything. I'm like, excuse me, how do you eat? Okay. And he told me, he says, I get all my food at the food bank. And this man he was not poor. He was working a full-time job. He had money. Food banks are not customized to any one particular person. Anybody can go there. Okay. So he says, I go there and I get my food from the food bank. He owns a huge building over in San Francisco. Okay. And so that's expensive. And I said, well, how do you feel about getting your food from the food banks? Because clients that may have to do that don't particularly like doing that. And he says, well, the only real difference that I see is that I have to make what I want to have may have to change according to what's available at the food bank. So, for instance, if I'm planning, I'd like to have chicken this evening, I may not have chicken if I have to go to the food bank. They only may have beef there. So I may have to have beef instead of this. He says, but I get all my food from food banks. And that's kind of stuck with me when you're talking about saving, if you have a goal and you want to do something, he just impressed me. So that's why I share that. It's like, I know that he's bought a building over there. He's working, but he does not spend money on groceries because he has other things that he wants to do with this money. Interesting, but it is. Okay. And then you can also do coupon shopping, flipping coupons and saving money that way. All right. Then I was going to talk just a little bit about scams. There are so many scams that are being run on senior citizens now, and I just kind of think it behooves people to really be aware of what they're doing. The Senate Special Committee says that older adults lose an estimated $3 billion each year to financial scams. That's a lot of money being taken away from people. And I don't like seeing that happen. There's all kinds of cyber crimes that are happening, but I want to share it like this with you. They're telling us that these are the different types of frauds or theft that they see: bank fraud, phone and utility frauds, identity theft, credit card fraud, and government documents, benefit frauds. All of these things are actually being seen right now. And so people need to be aware. I don't know how many times I've had older clients come in and they're talking about how something came up on their phone and they clicked and this happened and it just blows out of proportion. So they say, based on your age group here, this is how much money you can possibly lose if you're not paying attention. So if you're in the 20-29 age bracket, you might lose $300 some, which is small. But you go up here where to 70 to 79, you can kind of anticipate maybe losing about $700. It gets worse. So people need to be more aware of all the different scams that are out there. And so usually I will have like one of the attorneys come in to do a presentation actually for senior citizens here that will talk to them about all the various types of scams that are going on right now so they can be aware of them and try to avoid some of that.
Actually, we have a session coming up in the future on scams.
Oh, beautiful. I would love to have that information because I can have people just get on and listen in and learn something. Okay. So technical support, fake technical support, there's all kinds, robocalls, just so much out there that's hurting our seniors.
It'll be April 8th, by the way.
Okay, April 8th. I got it on here. Okay. So these are just some flyers to talk to them about different ways that they can be scammed. So I encourage them to keep all their personal information safe and private. Learn how to block and delete or ignore people, especially strangers, when they get calls on their phones, and not to trust people that you meet online. So just these are some of the things that I talk to people about, just trying to help them become more aware of what's going on around them. Okay. So in an effort to avoid scams, monitoring your credit report can also help, because if somebody is using your information, you should be able to tell when you're looking at your credit report when there's things on there that you have no idea of how they got there. Okay, and you can also join these do not call lists so that you don't have to have a whole lot of stuff coming into your account. One of the things that I encourage people to do for here to help build their credit is, while you want to work on cleaning up the bad stuff, you also need to be building stuff if you have nothing there. There's a credit union called the Self-Help Federal Credit Union, and they offer what's called a fresh start loan. So rather than having to do like a secured loan where you're going to put up $300 or $500, whatever, in order to get a credit card, the fresh start loan allows you to go in, apply for a loan. The loan could be either $500 or $1,000, and they simply take that money and put it into your savings account and let you pay them first for that money. Once you've paid them the money back, the freeze will be taken off that account and it's yours to use. But the reason I send them there, because that loan is looked at as an installment loan, and so it's building your credit report with the 3 major bureaus while you're doing this process. So your credit score will be going up. The other thing, let's see, did I not put it in here? The other thing that I do is like lending circles. I don't know if you guys are familiar with lending circles at all, but lending circles is handled by Mission Asset Funding out of San Francisco, and it allows us to create lending circles of anywhere from 6 to 12 persons, where they have agreed that they want to save a certain amount of money each month. So it's getting you into a savings habit, and the amount can be anywhere from $50 to $200. And then one person that is in that circle will get the entire pot each month until everyone has received it. And that also is reported to all of the credit bureaus, so that's another type of installment loan. So that helps to build your credit score as well. So I encourage people to do that as well. Okay.
I have a question, Wanda.
Yes.
So I just applied for American Funding Group. They have a grant program for businesses.
Okay.
Have you heard of them? They seem to be the real deal, and I have an appointment scheduled soon. So they have a deal where you can pay monthly. I think it's $49 a month, and they also, you can pay more if you want more, but up to 4 grants per year, or $49 a month for 4 grants per year, up to $250,000 in grants submission. And they do all the work for you. You tell them what your business is about, and then they go to work to find grants for your business. It's called American Funding Group.
Okay, I haven't heard about them, but I will look into it and see. get some more
Okay.
information for clients that I'm working with too. That would be
Okay.
great.
I just applied, so we'll see what happens.
What's the
All
name
right,
of
let
that
me know.
organization?
American
American Funding Group.
Yeah, I'll look into that.
Okay. Yeah, it was a Facebook advertisement, but I looked into it, did my research, and they are really highly rated company.
Okay.
So
That might be a good tool for a number of people that I'm working with who are starting their small businesses and looking
Right.
for money. Yeah.
helps with capital for marketing for me and
Yeah.
things like that.
We can
Okay.
make a whole
Thank you.
meeting out of that, all right? It's on, it's on, it's on,
Okay.
okay? Oh
Awesome.
my gosh,
I
okay.
actually have to take off, but it's really nice meeting everyone. I have a meeting I have to run to, but I wish I could stay longer, but I'm gonna leave
All
my
right.
info in the chat, so.
Thank you,
Great.
Sorry, I have
Zane.
to go
Thank
you.
early.
Watch-
Okay,
you can
thank you.
watch the
Great to meet you,
recording.
Wanda. All right, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well,
All right.
Julie, technically that's the end of what I was going to do. So I answer any questions that I can answer, and
Yeah, has
I'm
anybody
good.
got questions? There's so many nuggets there. So excited.
But if you have clients that want to work on their credit, I will work with them. It's no cost to them because we are a nonprofit organization. So they can call me. If they're way away from me, I can do Zoom calls with them and work it that way. Other people I will have come in person. I like in person better because you have that relationship more that way, but we can do either or. So
You got a
Julie has
slide-
my information. I'm
You got a
sorry.
slide with your contact info?
I did not put one in there, but can I just, well, here, let me put it into the chat.
Well, and we have it, everything is in the bulletin and
Okay,
it will be again next week.
It is
Yeah.
easier though when we put in the chat because we could put in the phone because I get millions of emails every day and sometimes it's like just getting to, but I love, I mean, just the step-by-step concept that was presented. So thank you so much, Wanda. And I, you know, just being in the business and doing hundreds of transactions for, you know, many years, learned so much, you know, and it's, you know, just really, you never think about those things. And I love the fact that you shared that little story with Starbucks, because there are these little things that we do that's like, it kind of reminds me of, I mean, not to go on, but have you guys heard of the British cycling team and how they went from like, you know, almost being disqualified to being the top in the world? And it's because, you know, they got a coach that came in, and Julie, you're nodding like you know the story. And
Yeah, I do,
then
yeah.
little micro changes every single day was at 1%, like, you know, even in the clothing that they wore, in their diet, you know, the shoes that they wore, and all these little micro things, you know, they went from being at the bottom to being at the top. And so I believe in that philosophy is really like just opening it up. You know, what's your situation now? Okay. Are you willing to give up cigarettes? I know my dad, I know my dad that's been a smoker for a long time. We begged and begged him, and it's so, you know, such a big or strong habit for him, but he has been able to cut from 1 pack to a half a pack. So I would like him to go to no pack. So we'll see.
it'll come.
He's
Yeah,
all baby, so I don't know.
one of the things one thing that's really dear to my heart is I did a credit presentation out in the community, and a couple came up to me afterwards and said, well, do you think you could help me? And my response was, you know, if you want to work, yes, I can help you and I will help you. So we took a chance. When I met them, they had just gotten off drugs, a husband and wife. They were sleeping in their car, and nobody was working. So like I said, we help people to get into jobs as well. So we got the husband a job as a truck driver. His wife went to work as doing secretarial type stuff at a church nearby. And I helped them to build their credit score up till they were able to purchase a home. and they are my friends for life now. You know, they call me about everything, but it's like they didn't believe that they could do it. So it just took some working with them and trying to show them how to do different things that it made it happen. And that's close to my heart. I like that.
Awesome. I love that. Absolutely love that. It really is in that mindset, but having someone like you who's taken many people down that road and
Mhm.
hearing those success stories, I'm sure is like inspirational to others where
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know, if somebody like that could do it, I could do it too. So
Exactly.
good for you. I appreciate what you do
Exactly.
for our community.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, Julie, that's it for me.
Well, one of the things that I was thinking, for us that we can utilize from what you have to share is that, since we do work with seniors,
Mhm.
there is a significant portion of people 55 and over that are leasing, that are renting, and that a portion of those have no idea, or they have a conviction that they could never own.
Right.
That's why they're still renting. Well, I'm this age already and I don't know. I don't, you know, and they don't know what they don't know. And I think that there's a lot of tools and resources that we could use as seniors real estate specialists to help those individuals, those families learn that it might not be impossible. They just might have to learn things that you just taught us about.
Right.
And whatever age anybody's at, it doesn't matter if you're just starting out and you're 18 years old or if you're, you know, 60 years old. The principles are the same and you can make the same goals, and we can have these conversations with our clients, and we can develop a whole prospecting system, a whole marketing and prospecting system just based on that concept. What do you guys think?
I agree. I think so.
Good word. Crickets. Hello. What do you guys think?
Just finding the right financing.
Yeah, right financing, Barbara says. And teaching people about that they actually can qualify with what they've got already put together or what they need to do. Wanda can teach us and teach them. We can get together and collaborate so we can teach people how to create a plan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right?
That's what it takes, a village.
Yeah.
And all the different pieces together. Yes.
Might not take them more than 1 or 2 years to what they.
Yeah, it might take a couple years, but that's okay. It's a plan. We're,
yes.
you know, we're in the business, we're in the long pipeline business, the long pipeline. And we don't even have the longest pipeline.
Hmm.
Yeah,
We have a long pipeline, but we don't have the longest pipeline. And then
Right.
we convert our pipeline into, you just described it, Wanda, because those people that you helped with, they're now your friends for life.
You know, morticians have
And
the
they're,
shortest pipeline.
yeah, morticians have the shortest pipeline.
Sure. Yes.
You know,
Contact.
yes, keep in contact. It's super important, super important. Develop those relationships.
See how they.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So anybody else have any questions? Comments? Kudos? Listings? Got clients?
Well, great job,
Eh,
Wanda. Thank you for spending the time with us. We really enjoyed getting to know you. And
Thank you.
look forward to working together and also, you know, sending clients your way. So it's nice that you have the Zoom feature so that you can reach people, you know, throughout the Bay Area or even further.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
yeah,
you.
this is going to be fabulous to integrate into our systems. So
Okay, I
excited.
like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, Wanda, you know, I mean, you used to do real estate, so you know what we.
You have to make the connections. That's how you're going to make all this come together. Yes.
And right now, we're up leveling this whole real estate business with the seniors real estate specialists. We're morphing it into a completely different business model. we're still realtors but it's a whole new business, a whole new paradigm that we're creating here. And
Right.
this is one of the tools, one of the methods, one of the service offerings that we're going to be able to integrate into that service. It's just not a normal thing for any average realtor.
All right.
I hope,
No,
you, well, you probably totally get it.
it's a much needed service, I believe. Yes.
Well, Wanda, you know what people struggle with is when they find themselves in financial difficulties. Sure, there's tons of content out there and there's information out there, but they don't really know where to go and how to put it together comprehensively so that they can actually make a plan for themselves. And
Right.
so they might be able to implement one piece, you know, go check your credit score and get off anything that's not right, but they don't know how to make the next step for that. And it really does take someone with your skill set and the breadth of experience to help them formulate a plan and then execute. So it's really, really nice that we got a chance to meet you and look forward to working with you.
No, thank you. I look forward to working with you and your clients. It'll
Yeah.
be fun. I like that.
Well, thank you, everybody.
And don't forget, next week is going to be a presentation on Medicare, and there's been a lot of changes this year to it. So you might want to hop on that call and see what it's all about.
That's going to be enormous and so beneficial. And it's such a quagmire dealing with Medicare and how it affects us is when our senior homeowners and the families of senior homeowners are having to make decisions and have understandings and they're lost about it. You know, that's a problem for everybody. And especially if a family is facing a crisis type transition, and we're there to help them with their preserve, protect, and leverage their real estate asset. We need to have a really good understanding of what they're facing. So excited about that.
Are our clients invited to come to, because we just had a discussion last weekend about Medicare, Medi-Cal, and all that good stuff. Are they invited? Can I send them the link?
Sure, why not?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Micklin, now that you brought it up, just tell everybody a quick thing about how your thing went on Saturday.
You know, the people that came, it was so.
Well, tell
I'm not
people what you did.
Oh, it was a workshop on wellness and I forgot now what I called it. It was called Healthcare and Wellness. Healthcare, of course, with Welby, who was a presenter here before, and we forged a great relationship. Teresa was the presenter. She did a great job. And SRS people came, and I was looking for you to come because you did spread the word, so that was good. A lot of people didn't come from my church because it said it rained. So it was recorded, but I haven't had the editing done because she did at least Q&A. It was at least 45 minutes, so we'd have to chop it up and put it into bits. But and they wanted more. They wanted more. Even Joseph's not on here either. He said he started promoting his book on reverse mortgages and such. And he sent me the link. So if anybody wanted to know about reverse mortgages, and I did tell them it's not the thing these days because of the interest rates, and you don't get as much as you used to back in the day. So it can just spread. And the same thing with what Wanda was doing with this credit thing. And I'm linking that to something that we had some months ago with Mao, with purchasing.
Oh yeah,
homes.
Mal do.
Heck 'em for
Yes.
purchase. Heck 'em for purchase.
But you know, no, not on the reverse mortgage side. No, I'm talking about where she talks about fractional ownership.
Yeah, fractional
everybody
ownership
knows.
and co-owning.
Right, but the
Yeah.
thing about it, I don't think she has. Her model isn't that you have to have great credit. It's never. It's always a good idea to have great credit because you never know when you're going to use it. But her thing was buying in sections. I think a minimum of an eighth to a fourth and up to a half, and they do the financing. So for those people who are discouraged and say, "Oh, I can't afford to buy here," what if they started small like that and built up something bigger?
Yeah.
So I see an
Fractional
application.
ownership,
If-
yeah, fractional ownership is really gonna evolve into something that what you're describing is gonna be beneficial for those buyers. What Mal's product is right now is not that, but I have her working on it.
What do you mean as far, but her thing
For
is not
fractional
necessarily,
ownership, yeah. So, and yeah, what she's doing. Her product are for multifamily or for vacation second homes.
and she does a lot of with, right now, I saw a lot of her stuff with, student housing, Alameda
Yeah,
County. Yeah,
student housing,
yeah.
student multifamily, like the one property in Berkeley. But
Right.
you're so right in your thinking and connecting it. And yes,
But I've never heard her say anything about credit. They want your funds in order to group it in terms of, but I don't see why credit should not be included in something like that because your rate would change. But I don't know if it matters to them because they do the financing. So I don't know. I don't know how she works that part of it out.
yeah, but I know how you're connecting it. I know where you're getting at with that, but that's a good connection. So you had a great time, a great turnout on Saturday.
Amongst the SRS, but not amongst my church members. But you know what they want? They want to repeat it and have it on Zoom. So we're trying to work that out so they don't have to move. In fact, now that we're on that topic of Welby, they're having an open house on that Thursday before March, whatever date that is. It has to be February the 29th or the 28th. They're having an open house. And then they're
Oh,
having
nice.
senior day.
Oh, nice.
Senior day
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
March 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah, senior day is March 1st.
Yeah. So,
So she's gonna send me the flyer to send out to
nice.
members and have an in-person deal.
Okay, perfect. Wanda, real quickly, what Micklin is talking about is a local organization called Wellbe Health. They are actually all over the state, and I do have a mention of them in this week's bulletin. They administer the PACE program, which is the something elderly that the
Participatory, all-inclusive
care
health
for the elderly.
care for the elderly. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're doing a bunch of stuff with them. I'll send you more information. And they probably have a counterpart in Alameda County, in the city of Oakland, because it does there is a city jurisdiction to it, and then there's a county jurisdiction to the PACE program, which is actually state. So, and they all work hand in hand. So I'll find out a little bit more for Alameda County, but Micklin has developed a really good relationship with them, and for me as well. And we're going to be doing some more things together. And it is for seniors for them to age in place. There is an element where they're evaluated if they're in danger of needing to go to a nursing home, which is medical in nature. They can apply to qualify for this program and stay in their home. It's really a neat program, PACE program.
It is.
Right?
And I did refer my brother back in Kansas City, and it's called KC PACE. So it's like, I call it a mini Kaiser, but Kaiser doesn't come to your home.
Yeah.
These folks come to your home if you need it and do the housekeeping. I mean, it was people did not believe it was that good. So they had a couple of people who wanted to sign up. So that's what Teresa told me, to have them bring their award letter from Social Security and any other ID. She's going to send me that, and they could qualify them right then and there on March the 1st. And she did demo the tailpad too. She demoed the tailpad.
Awesome. I did put it, it's on page 2 of the bulletin, and their the access is right here, just to get to their program. So
Okay.
for anybody that wants to review that, and then there'll be more stuff coming.
Now, how does it, what happens if people die? Is that it? Do they have to pay that any of that?
No, no, it's covered by Medicaid,
Oh, okay.
Medicare, Medicaid.
Right.
Anyway, well, when we went down that rabbit hole, that was fun. I mean, we never will run out of stuff to talk about, ever.
No, it's nice that they're being taken care of.
That's right, that's right.
But they're welcome. Everybody's welcome to come to the open
All
house. That
kinds-
Thursday
Yeah.
is the last Thursday. And
Yeah.
it's at 1799 Hamilton. And then the
Yeah.
senior day is at following Saturday, March
Yeah.
1st.
Nice. All right, everybody. Thank you again, Wanda, so much. I think this
You're
is
welcome.
just gonna be the beginning of a great collaboration. And I hope we can do this again soon. Does anybody have any final thoughts, any questions?
Great info. Was the slides available to us?
I can make them available, yes.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, Julie.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Yes,
much.
yes.
Thank
Have
you.
a good
Bye-bye.
day.
All right, everybody have a great week.
Thank you.